All right, we are out here on Eagle Lake in Texas Township. Now, we don't typically do a whole lot of retaining walls like this, but they reached out to us. The client asked if we could handle it, and we said, hey, let's make it happen. I've done a few of these. So this wall, I think, turned out awesome. This thing was rotted. This lake was actually, it was flooded for a few years, and it really kind of destroyed the old wall. So we took everything out. We dug the land back. There was actually, this is a much bigger beach now than there was here. So we moved some dirt back. We were able to put in a drain field behind the retaining wall. Let's see here, we put in some landscape fabric around that drain field to kind of keep the dirt out of that area. So now you got a great retaining wall. I don't know, it's probably about 150, 140 linear feet, somewhere right in there. And then one of the things I love about this place, or this wall, is this the stairs. One of the things I love are these stairs. These stairs turned out great. We were able to float it in with the wall. We didn't have to add like some weird handrail that doesn't really fit. And these are nice grippers if you need them. So kids or older people that actually want a handrail on these steps, you have them. And then, I don't know, I just like the way that it flows together. You don't have stairs that are, you know, an odd size. It's all the same material. I think it turned out great. Our goal was 2 weeks. This one ended up taking about a month. About a week of that month was rain, so we were kind of fighting the weather along the way, which on a project like this is just kind of part of it. You know, it comes with the territory, I guess. So that was definitely kind of a pain getting around the weather. We didn't get it done as quickly as I was hoping, but that's kind of the case with a lot of projects, frankly. And with a project like this, we're not, you know, we never claimed to be retaining wall experts, even though we're pretty smart. We can figure a lot of shit out. The purpose of a retaining wall is to make sure that the land up here stays here and it doesn't end up down there in the beach in this case. So when you have you got soil, this will eventually be grass. We're gonna throw some grass seed down, even though it's not gonna take this year, but in the spring it'll be around and we'll probably throw a little bit more. But this grass up here, all this soil needs to be kept here and out of the beach area. We want that nice and sandy and clean, and we want it lower with the sand. We don't want a big hill going into the water because it's hard to keep sand in that. So originally this wall, it was just a 90-degree angle. So this wall came out here, this wall came out here. So none of this was included in the beach. This was part of, you know, the grassy area up top. So bringing all this dirt out of here, getting it up there, building the wall really added, and we did this on both sides. So it's kind of a mirrored image of each other. So you basically, I don't know how many square feet, but it's a good chunk. It feels like it doubled the usable space of this beach. Now you can actually have, you know, a couple families down here, because this is a community beach for the homeowners in the neighborhood. So you can have a couple homeowners down here, or a couple families down here, and actually have your own space on the beach and enjoy it. Where before you really couldn't. If you had one family down here and they brought a couple chairs, that was about it. If you came down here, you kind of felt like you were impeding on their space, and you had to kind of keep up there. So this really fixes a lot of that kind of issue. So at the end of the day, this is about a $35,000 retaining wall. So they're definitely not cheap. It's cheaper than going with stone. You're gonna spend probably at least twice that if you're going like a big stone, like the neighbor did here, which is a fantastic seawall. I love that thing. And that thing's gonna last longer than this. But at the same time, if you're on a budget, you know, doing some 6x6s, these are all treated 6x6s. You can't really tell because of the dirt, but we are, you know, a good chunk underground here. So you got a nice base layer all the way around. We put big rebar spikes basically through all the wood and deep into the ground to help make sure that bottom doesn't come out. And then all of these spots here, these are what you call dead men. So it's basically like a T that goes into the hill, so that if the wall starts to pull, which it will start to pull because it's holding back a lot of soil, this is a lot of weight. So with the dead man in there, when the wall starts to pull, that dead man is anchored into the soil so it doesn't pull up as much over the years. You're still gonna have a little pull, like when you build a new house. There's gonna be a ton of settling. Well, not a ton, hopefully, but you're gonna have some settling if you build a house. You're gonna have settling if you build a wall on this, especially with some of your looser, sandier soil. So getting everything screwed together, rebarred together, dead man in, proper drainage on the back end. Like, this thing is built to last, and it's gonna last a long time. All right, well, you got a weird project that, you know, somebody doesn't want to bid. That was kind of the problem here is everybody, all the contractors that were called just didn't want to bid the job, wouldn't show up, would show up and then not actually get the bid around. So they called us, said, hey, could you help us out? And we said, absolutely, we'll find a way to make it work. And I absolutely love the end result. I think it turned out great. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. Follow Bricktree for more.